got it on me. I got it on me. You can run up if you want.
Time for Old Dominion Athletic Conference play here at Wilson Field as the Washington & Lee football team returns home to take on the Cougars at Averett University in the ODAC opener for both Averett and W&L. We say hello and welcome to Wilson Field here on the campus of Washington & Lee University in Lexington, Virginia, part of Parents and Family Weekend here at W&L. Thanks for joining us on the Washington & Lee Sports Network. Alongside Shane Riley, I'm Ryan Connell. And Shane, fantastic day for some football here at Wilson Field. It's been great all day long in terms of the weather. It looks like it's going to hold up here for a nice 5 o'clock kick.
Yeah, beautiful weather on this Parents Weekend here at W&L. About 80 degrees out there, sunny, not too many clouds in the sky, so shaping up to be a very good day of football and a very good day for both these teams to get their ODAC action underway.
Each team was on a bye week last week. They both played last 2 Saturdays ago on the 21st of September for Washington & Lee. That was a trip to Texas to take on the Tigers of Trinity, where the Generals came up on the short end 16-10 at Trinity, while Averett lost a non-conference game against Ferrum by a final of 36-10 at home in Danville. So Averett 2-1 on the campaign, wins over NC Wesleyan and Greensboro. Washington Lee just 1-2 on the season with losses to Salisbury and Trinity and a win against Apprentice. It's been a little boom or bust for Washington Lee here to start. They scored 68 points in their win against the Apprentice school, then held to 10 points against Trinity, got away from them against Salisbury in the season opener as well. So it's been a very up and down start to the year. Perhaps a little bit more consistency is what the Generals are looking for as they start conference play.
Yeah, the offensive play just hasn't been exactly where they wanted. They had the new sophomore quarterback, Ty Collins, who's coming into the year. This will only be his 4th start of his career. So offense still working through some kinks. They're going to look to try to get established today and try to establish that identity with their run game. They're doing really well this season, averaging around 312 rush yards a game, but last game just really not able to get it going, as you said, in that 10-16 loss against Trinity. So they're going to look to establish some consistency today.
So we take a little bit more of a look at that game against Trinity 2 Saturdays ago down in Texas. It was 98 degrees. There was about 90% humidity. It was hot, and hot might be an understatement. A 16-10 final score where Washington & Lee, their only touchdown they scored was a defensive touchdown, a pick 6 from Uno Christopher. But as you look at some of the numbers here, the Generals, who have been averaging, almost over 300 yards on the ground per game, held to 152 on the ground, had just 250 yards of total offense, and more importantly, went just 1 of 11 on third down.
Yeah, it's just simply not a recipe for success. As you said, the heat was a huge factor in that one, and you got to think the fatigue of the players was just absolutely through the roof, given those temperatures. I mean, that is just not typical football weather, especially given this time of year. But the Generals, as you said as well, that offensive running game just really unable to get itself going. Only no offensive touchdowns in that one as well. So they're really going to look to flip that script today against the Averett Cougars.
And also another thing, time of possession was huge. The W&L defense was on the field a lot. You can see it on your screen, almost 37 minutes of possession for Trinity, and the Generals defense really held firm. They only gave up 1 touchdown in their own right, and it was just 3 field goals for the Tigers. But it just seemed like by the end of the game, W&L still had a chance. They had a 4th and goal, or 4th and 5 from inside the 10-yard line. It was an incomplete pass broken up on the sideline with less than 2 minutes left. So they had a chance to even still try and tie the game, take the lead, or even win it in the final couple minutes, despite only putting up 10 points.
Yeah, you got to like that effort for the Generals. I mean, in such a close game like that, coming down to the wire like that, even despite the loss, they're going to look to try to carry that momentum forward and try to establish their team today into ODAC play, because Generals last year, they had a good season. They had 8 wins last year, not necessarily the start that they would have wanted this year, starting off 1-2, but they have some good momentum going forward into this ODAC play.
Yeah, Washington and Lee and Averett both getting conference play underway. There were some other conference games earlier today around the ODAC, and the finals from that one. Hampton-Sydney beat Guilford at home 31-0. Randolph-Macon a come-from-behind 22-21 win over Shenandoah. And still in progress, Bridgewater and Ferrum squaring off. Bridgewater up 41-6 on Ferrum with 8 minutes left in the 4th. This game being the 4th and final game of the ODAC slate this weekend. But the most surprising result there, Shane, just a 1-point win for Randolph-Macon, 22-21 against Shenandoah, and was needing Randolph-Macon to score a touchdown with about 6 minutes left to take back the lead.
Yeah, Randolph-Macon able to pull off a big win for them against the undefeated Shenandoah Hornets. ODAC's shaping up to be a very competitive conference this season, and that's just proving that with such a tight win in that game.
We talked about Washington and Lee in their last game. They lost 16-10 to Trinity. For Averett, it was a non-conference loss to Ferrum at home by a final of 36-10. It was a game in which the Cougars did not have their best stuff. They were limited all over the field, and it really showed in the final score. The Cougars did not score until the 4th quarter. They were down by as many as 29-3 at one point. So things really didn't go the way of Averett against a team in Ferrum who is a rival and someone that they will get another crack at in their final game of the regular season as part of conference play, but a lopsided result in their last time out.
Yeah, they just really weren't able to get any sides of their offense going. As you can tell, the defense really just kind of fell over to much of the Ferrum attack as well. I mean, under 200 passing yards and not really a lot on the ground either, which is very uncharacteristic of them. Averett, traditionally a pretty balanced team through the air and on the ground. So they're going to look to try to change that track today against the Generals, who put up a pretty good defensive effort last time around, so it might not be the easiest task for them today.
Yeah, Ferrum in that win against Averett had 499 yards of total offense and were a perfect 4 for 4 in scoring touchdowns in the red zone. So they capitalized on the opportunities that were provided for them, and it showed in their last matchup. But each team's had a week off, a chance to regroup, and now play their first game in 2 weeks. We'll hear from Jacob Romero in just a few minutes here on the pregame show, and him talking a little bit about what the Generals did in the bye week. If you're head coach Patrick Henry of this Averett staff, you come off a tough loss to a team that's a bit of a rival, but you have conference play on the horizon. Your focus kind of shifts because these are the games that really, truly matter in the course of this season, and you have 2 weeks to prepare for a team like Washington and Lee. That's unconventional.
Yeah, you can really galvanize a team and try to instill that fighting spirit back into them, especially coming off such a big loss. But going away on the road, you got to think Coach Henry is really trying to tell his guys that this is a really good chance to get off to a 3-1 start, 1-0 in ODAC play, and like I said earlier, it's going to be a very competitive conference, which every win matters in a conference like this.
So we will hear from the Generals' senior captain and running back Jacob Romero here on the pregame show. When we come back, we'll get you the starting lineups, coin toss, and the opening kickoff for the ODAC opener between Averett and Washington and Lee right here on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Now joined by senior captain Jacob Romero, the Washington and Lee football team. Jacob, you're 3 games into the 2024 season and now into October. How do you feel like this team is coming together after the first month of playing games?
I think the first 3 opponents, a record might not show anything, but I think we faced 3 really good opponents. Like we've been saying, probably the 3 most aggressive teams we have played. Got Salisbury. I mean, if you guys seen the schedule, they've been beating top teams now. They're top 10. Trinity was top 10. Apprentice is a very physical team. So first 3 games, we're going through those 3. I think it really prepares us for the ODAC play. And I think it's going to show. So, yeah.
Last time out, 16-10 loss at Trinity 2 weeks ago. What do you take away from that game?
I think what me and the guys were talking about, defense played a great game. Can't deny that. Offense, one of the games we didn't show ourselves, and to still be in that dogfight, even have an opportunity at the end to win, really shows what we can be as a team if we're playing to our full ability on all three cylinders of play. So, yeah, I think that's one takeaway from the game.
What was the experience like going to San Antonio, playing a game in Texas? Obviously, there's a lot of guys from Texas on the team, but also just a different experience that you guys don't get to do on a year in and year out basis.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I loved every second of it, from traveling to playing a game, seeing alumni, going to lunch with the whole team, and then traveling back home. It's something I've never done before. Never traveled further than a 7-hour bus ride. So it was really cool to get on a plane. Feel like kind of important, I guess. Not really, but just it's really cool to get on a plane. You already see the big D1 schools do it. It was a great opportunity. Like I said, Trinity's a great team. It was great to showcase our skills. So yeah, it was great.
Coming off the bye week this past week, what was the point of emphasis from practice, something you guys really worked on, having a little bit of a downtime?
Yeah, Coach Rose always says it's about us. All of our coaches say it too. The week of bye week is literally just our basic plays, basic playbook, doing it over and over and over, getting it to perfection. Creating a better bond with our team or coaches, whatever it may be. So really the emphasis that week was about us. So yeah.
Offensively this year, you guys return a lot of talent from last year. A lot of guys that played a lot of different roles. You throw in a young quarterback in Ty who, has had to make his first few starts of his college career. How do you feel like that unit has started to come together?
Yeah, like you said, the only difference is our QB. But we have a lot of trust in Ty. Even last year, he was showing us that he can be that great quarterback when Steve leaves. And the last 3 games, that's all he's done. He's a great QB. I think some of the older guys and the guys who have experience, who've been playing there for 2 years already. So yeah, nothing's really changed at all. If anything, we've gotten stronger with more experience. So yeah.
Conference play begins this week as you host Averett. What do you know about the Cougars?
They're a great team. ODAC is ODAC. Doesn't matter about record. They're a great team. They're going to be physical. They're going to be fast. They're going to play us hard. Like last year, it was a really good game. Came to the wire. And I'm just expecting the same thing, another dogfight with a great team in the ODAC. So, we got to practice good this week, come together as a team, and show them how it's good.
In your final season this year with the Generals, what have you enjoyed most about your entire Washington Elite football experience?
I think what I've enjoyed the most is some of the things we do for our whys, why we play football is just our teammates. You play for your brothers. It's really a big family. The coaches are, basically our parents in there, and then you got your other brothers that you're there day in, day out, meetings, whatever it is, camp before school. You're really with these guys 24/7, and it's, like I was saying, one of the best friendships I'll ever have. I know I'm going to invite a lot of them to my wedding, whenever that is. And it's just having those relationships, even from guys that graduated, has been the best thing for me. I still talk to a lot of them too, so some I cherish.
Lastly, keys to victory for Saturday's game against Averett.
Yeah, like I said about the bye week, I think it's about us. I think that goes into every other game. And something that we struggle with in the first 3 weeks of play, or any first game or a couple games this season that I've been here, it's just about us. It takes us a little while to get in the groove, work as a team, hit on all 3 cylinders. So if we can just focus on ourselves, run the plays right, know our assignments, no mistakes, I think we can be a great team, great offense, great defense, special teams, and we can really show people who we are. So yeah.
Well, Jacob, thanks for joining us here today. Best of luck.
Thank you.
portion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
A good citizen is someone who wants to make a positive impact, both in their communities and in the world around them. The Division III approach is absolutely the best approach out there for amateur sport because it wants student athletes to explore all parts of who they are. Be successful in the classroom, be successful in competition, be successful in the community. So our student athletes learn what it means to strive for and attain success, but doing it the right way and being good citizens.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Back here at Wilson Field on the campus of Washington and Lee University, getting set for today's ODAC opener between Washington and Lee and Averett. Time to meet the starting lineups, and we'll start with the Cougars of Averett. Making his first start of his college career at quarterback is the 6'1 freshman from Chesapeake, Virginia, number 10, Brock Hoffman. Running back, the 5'5 junior from Juneau, Alaska, number 4, Gabby Soto. He leads the ODAC in rushing yards this season with 316 yards through 3 weeks. At wide receiver, it's Sean Watlington, Nick Andrews, and Trevor Testerman. The tight end is Jameer Jennings. And then left to right across the offensive line for the Cougars, Matthew Isom, Spencer Shaper, Vincent Kettner, Jonathan Thomas, and Johnny Alston, as the Cougars have kind of shuffled the deck on the offensive line over the last couple of weeks trying to find the right combination. That is the combination that they will start with here today. As for the Cougars defensively, a 4-3 front here to start with Jarrell Williams, Tony Totten Jr., Marte Simmons, and Isaac Hamilton on the defensive line. Anthony Brunelli, Trey Maxwell, and Kendrick Long are the 3 linebackers. Maxwell with 27 tackles this year, among the ODAC leaders, trailing one of the Generals' starting linebackers, Jalen Todd, who leads the conference with 30 tackles this season. Then the secondary for Averett, Miles Lawson, Seth Harden, Kendall Springens, and Josiah Campbell is the secondary for head coach Patrick Henry, who is in his 5th full season with this Cougars squad. He had been with Averett for 12 years prior to being promoted to the head coach. Defensive coordinator is Lyndon Trail, and the offensive coordinator, Tim Reynolds Jr. for Averett. As for Washington and Lee, the Generals rolling out a pretty similar lineup to what they have shown each of the first couple of weeks. It starts on offense with the sophomore quarterback from Georgia, number 9, Ty Collins. The running back for the Generals, 5'8 senior and captain, number 10, Jacob Romero. The slot backs, Marcus Payne and Josh Garcia. Tight end, Evan Novak, and the one wide receiver for Washington and Lee is Ian Evans. Left to right across the offensive line for the Generals, Tucker Jacobson, Kalen Graham, Mason Ryan, Tyler Holliday, and Harrison Donovan. As for Washington and Lee defensively, this week shaking it up with a 3-4 front seven as opposed to the traditional 4-3 that the Generals often run. The defensive ends, Will Knight and O'Keefe McKinney, with Fritz Notabom as the defensive tackle. The four linebackers today for Washington and Lee in the starting lineup: Will Mahmood, Jalen Todd, Brennan Stout, and Jersey Alentini. While the secondary for Washington and Lee: Connor O'Malley, Jack Johnson, Charlie Fleming, and Alan Hagler. Head coach Garrett LaRose in his 6th season as the head coach of his alma mater. Offensive coordinator Matt Raposo first year as OC, while defensive coordinator Vaughn Johnson in his 3rd season as the defensive coordinator for the Generals. Shane, just a couple of late changes to the starting lineup, most notably for Averett. It's freshman quarterback Brock Hoffman getting the start for the Cougars, and then for the Generals defensively, no Uno Christopher in the starting lineup, Brennan Stout instead.
Yeah, you got to look at Averett's quarterback having a freshman start in the first game of ODAC play. His first start of his career, not really any stats yet on the season, so you got to think that he's probably going to be pretty nervous coming into this one, potentially something that the Generals will be able to exploit at. And then for Uno Christopher being out, it's a big loss for this Generals defense. But you're going to have to look to step up other guys, fill up his position.
We'll step aside for the national anthem when we come back. The coin toss in the opening kickoff between Averett and Washington and Lee. Back at Wilson Field here on the campus of Washington and Lee University, getting set for today's ODAC opener for the Washington and Lee football team as they take on the Cougars of Averett University. Washington and Lee 1-2 through their first 3 games of the season, while the Cougars of Averett 2-1 so far this season. Just about a minute or two away from the opening coin toss today. Fantastic weather, blue skies, temperatures as high as 80 degrees this afternoon. Only going to get a little bit cooler as the night goes at this 5 o'clock kickoff. Thanks so much for joining us on the Washington and Lee Sports Network alongside Shane Riley. I'm Ryan Connell. Shane, as we get closer to kickoff here, we've obviously broke down the matchup and talked a lot about a few of the different things that each of these teams want to do here today. But you couldn't have asked for a better night for a game on Parents Weekend here at home.
No, this is absolutely the perfect day for some football. As I said earlier, not really any clouds in the sky. I got a little bit over there to our right, but absolutely beautiful day, and the temperature's only going to drop into like a nice around 70, I believe, or around 60-ish tonight. So it'd be an absolutely perfect night for some football.
So the Washington, Averett has already taken the field. The Generals waiting to take their home field for just the second time this season. Washington and Lee, their only other home game of the year, back on September 14th, won in dominating fashion, 68-28. It was the most points the Generals scored in a game in over 100 years. Generals have crossed the 60-point plateau on a relatively regular basis, but getting to 68 points and having 10 official touchdowns in that game. Quite an offensive display in their only home game of the year thus far, as the captains will walk out of the tunnel here for the blue and white. Jake Romero, Uno Christopher, and Will Knight, the three captains of this Washington Lee football team this season, will come out for the coin toss here at Wilson Field. Washington Lee in the home blue uniforms, white numbers and letters, generals across the front of their chest. They got the white pants to go with it, white helmets with the blue trident on the side, as here come the rest of the generals out of the tunnel, while Averett in the visiting white uniforms with the navy blue pants, the navy numbers with the yellow trim around it to go with the navy helmets as well. So the captains going to make their way out to midfield for today's coin toss. Cheney going heads or tails here?
I'm going to go tails here.
So
how about you?
Just to be different, we'll go heads. We just can't get it wrong that way. But we'll have the coin toss here for you, as we'll hopefully be able to listen in to what our referee has to say here this afternoon. Well, it doesn't seem like the ref's mic is working all that clear again here today, so.
It's nothing out of the ordinary.
And so Washington Lee has won the toss. Seems like they have perhaps deferred their choice, and we will get the official recognition here. The Generals win the toss. They will receive, and they will go left to right. The sun sets behind the press box here at Wilson Field, so for the angle you're seeing on the stream, it really won't be a factor on either end zone. The shadow of the press box will continue to creep more and more out to the center of the field as this game goes, but sunset not until 6:55 this evening. Washington Lee will get the ball first here to start. And Shane, any keys to victory for both the Cougars and the Generals this evening?
Well, for the Generals, it will be very important to have that offensive start very strong, keep that running game going. As we said last game, just really unable to get anything going. A lot of that to do with the weather, but very important for the Generals to get off to a quick start offensively. And then for the Cougars, keeping that run game at bay for the Generals, and then getting their freshman quarterback some easy plays to get them going, get them warmed up, and have some easy plays to get going.
Mikhail Yakovlev to kick it off here for Averett. Connor Lehman, Wilson Axley back deep to receive for Washington and Lee. Yakovlev waiting for the go-ahead. He gets the whistle. And we are ready to get underway here at Wilson Field. It's a booming kick that Axley will meet at the 5-yard line and look to return here for the Generals. Wilson Axley stood up after he crosses the 25, makes it out to about the 29-yard line. And that's where the Washington Lee offense will take over for the first time today. So Ty Collins will lead out the W&L offense, making his 4th start of his college career for the sophomore from Dallas, Georgia. He's got a senior running back and Jacob Romero with him in the backfield, who rushed for over 1,000 yards last year. The Generals, once again this year, among the nation's leaders and rushing yards per game, over 312 yards per contest. That's the most in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and 6th most in Division III this season. So Collins had the shotgun with Romero to his left. They'll run the option to the left. Collins will keep it himself and pick up about 4 yards on first down.
Yeah, that option play is so important for the Generals to get it going early and sort of figure out how this Averett defense is going to handle it. Collins, they're able to shoot up the gap for 4 yards, as you said there.
Something that Collins, I think, as he gets more accustomed to this offense, getting more and more attempts to run the ball himself. There's a lot of teams really try and key on and Romero and some of the other slot backs for the Generals who get a lot of the touches, trying to make Collins having to make that decision, be decisive with the read. On second down will be Romero up the middle. He cuts across the 35, and he's brought down by the left arm And right around the first down markers, but it'll be just about a yard short.
Yeah, Romero there trying to cut that one back. He's had a little bit of daylight in the open field there, but the Cougars defense able to swarm around him and not let him break free.
So 3rd and short for Washington and Lee, an area in which they struggled in last time out against Trinity. They went just 1 of 11 on 3rd down against the Tigers 2 weeks ago in their last game. They'll have their first crack here on 3rd and 1 from their own 38-yard line. Romero again right up the middle. He's got first down yardage and more as he's met at the 46-yard line. A pickup of 7 for Jacob Romero.
Yeah, coming off that last game, picking up that easy first 3rd down of the game. It's got a big confidence boost for everybody on that offense, but especially that offensive line, getting a good push and able to pick up that first down.
Anthony Crawford will cycle in as the running back for W&L after a couple of carries for Romero. Crawford, the reigning Conference Rookie of the Year last year on offense. Will play action. Collins avoids the rush. Has to step up, looking for options. He'll try and catch a couple of blocks, and he'll be tackled for a loss. First there was Jarrell Williams, the defensive end for Averett, as he hits Collins. And they'll mark him back at the line of scrimmage. That looked like he perhaps was hit for a loss or two, but we'll say no gain.
Looks like Collins kind of moved himself back voluntarily there, and then Williams able to come up and make the tackle, but they're going to give him the forward progress there.
So 2nd and 10 from the 45. It's Wilson Axley on the sweep. The first year makes a couple guys miss and has a 13-yard gain for the first down.
Yeah, a couple of nice cutbacks there from Wilson, able to juke out that first defender and then doing the same for that second one, getting a nice run for the first down.
Saw what Axley's been able to do on kickoff returns this year. A couple of really explosive plays. A guy that the Generals just want to be able to get the ball in his hands and make things happen, and you see it there for a gain of 13. 1st and 10 from the Averett 42 as we're about 3 minutes into the opening quarter. Flag flies, free play for the Generals. Collins going to loft it up, looking for Ian Evans, but that was out of bounds anyways. There's a flag really before that play was snapped, so we'll see perhaps if a Cougars player jumped off sides.
Yeah, a lot of movement on the line to start that play.
So 5-yard penalty for offsides against the Cougars pushed the Generals forward. So it'll be 1st and 5 from the 37-yard line with 11:50 to play here in the first. Crawford to the left of Collins. A couple of receivers split out to the right for the Generals. Crawford comes in motion. It's the option to the right. Collins will pitch it to Crawford. He'll tiptoe down the sideline, cut back middle, run through a defender, and is finally brought down at the 20.
And as you said earlier, Collins' decision-making on those option plays is going to be very important. He did a really good job of holding on to that one, really figuring out if he had the lane or if Crawford was the one to take it, and pitched it out to Crawford and able to pick up a really nice first down.
Crawford lowering the shoulder there and fighting for a few extra yards as well. Hoping the Generals get their first chance in the red zone. 1st and 10 from the 20. Romero back in as the running back. As Collins looks to the home sideline for the call. Almost exclusively runs here for the Generals thus far. Already 6 carries for 46 yards. And that'll be a delay of game as the play clock struck double zeros.
Yeah, that small play clock can be hard to see for the quarterback, and just really not aware of how much time he had left to get that one off.
So the Generals will have 1st and 15 from the Averett 25 after the 5 yards for delay of game. Worth noting the regular play clocks here at Washington Lee that also serve as shot clocks in lacrosse not working today, so the portable ones have been rolled out, and it's about half the size of the normal one. So something that each team's going to have to be more conscious of. It's a bad handoff to Payne. He picks it up off the turf, cuts back to the right side, and is at least able to get about 3 yards. But not a clean exchange between Collins and Payne.
Yeah, Collins looked like he let go of that one just a little bit early. Payne maybe not looking at the ball, but still able to turn it into a positive play. Good effort there from Payne.
Now Marcus Payne picks up 4 yards. The Generals will have 2nd and 11 from the 21-yard line. Collins with Romero to his right. Collins looking to pass. He's going to pitch it down low for Payne, and Marcus Payne is brought down at the 15. A host of Cougars there defensively. Collins completes his first pass of the day.
Yeah, the threat of Collins running there, you could see really had the Cougars defenders coming up there, and it opened up the receiver there for Collins to make that pass.
So 3rd and 5 from the Averett 15 here for Washington and Lee on their opening drive. Generals have converted their only other try on 3rd down thus far. As Crawford checks in as the running back. Garcia goes in motion. Handoff is to Crawford. He's at about the 11-yard line, and that's all he'll get. First through there for the Cougars at the bottom of the pile is number 53, Chavis Martin. So 4th down here for W&L, and it looks like the offense is going to stay on the field.
Yeah, with this being so close and the ability of this Generals line and these running backs to be so explosive, the aggressive call here, you got to like for the Generals.
Back to Crawford again. This time he gets across the first down marker and is pulled ahead to the 6-yard line. So Washington Lee gambles on 4th down. They get the 3 yards they need and some to set up 1st and goal.
Yeah, this Averett line right now is really struggling to keep their gaps contained. This offensive line is really pushing them around right now, and we saw a lot of that there.
1st and goal from the 6-yard line. Right to Michael Schoenberg on the handoff, and he is met right at the line. First through Trey Maxwell. Who else for Averett than Trey Maxwell, the graduate student, entered the day with 27 tackles, among the ODAC leaders in that category, and you can see why right there, getting through the hole quick.
Yeah, just as I was saying, they must have heard me down there. Good effort there to stop the run.
7:40 and counting off the clock here in the first. Still the opening drive of this game. Schoenberg straight ahead, and he's a yard short. The Generals signaling for the touchdown. Both officials coming in and spot him at the 1-yard line. So 3rd and goal from the 1 upcoming. Just a methodical opening drive here for Washington and Lee. This will be the 13th play of the opening drive, and they've used already about 8 minutes of game time.
It's a big difference from their last game. They were really not able to control the ball at all, but so far on this drive, they've done a great job.
Schoenberg on the handoff. Is he in? No, says the side judge. Looked like perhaps he could have got there, but they're going to mark him short.
Yeah, Marte Simmons there for the Cougars did a great job of busting through that line and then just grabbing him and pulling him back and keeping him about a half-inch short of punching that one in.
So this is 4th and goal from the half-yard line. All you need is about a football's length or so. Generals are going to go for it. A botched handoff. Crawford picks it up off the turf and is in the end zone for 6.
Second 4th down conversion for the Generals on that drive. A very efficient drive, able to just methodically get down the field. And a little confusion there on that last play. The ball kind of fell out there a little bit, but still able to pick it up and punch it in.
So Anthony Crawford scores for Washington and Lee. That's his 3rd touchdown of the year. That will cap off a 14-play opening drive for Washington and Lee. That takes nearly 9 minutes off the clock. Michael Fernandez on for the point after. He knocks it up and through, and the Generals have a 7-0 lead with 6:18 left here in the first.
And that first drive has got to be very, very, very positive for everyone on that Generals sideline, especially coming off that last game. As we said, the really big offensive struggle, no offensive touchdowns in that one. Just to get your team back into the flow of things, back at home, back into ODAC play, it's got to feel good for the Generals.
Washington and Lee punches it in on 4th and goal from the half-yard line. Anthony Crawford with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. Puts an end to a 14-play, 71-yard drive that takes 8:42 off the clock.
And that's another thing that the Generals really have to be happy about, is that they're controlling the possession, something that they've known to do. As we said again last game, not able to do that. And especially with the freshman quarterback on that other side that we have not seen play yet. Just dominating the ball, not getting him a lot of reps in could be potentially a big deal in this game.
Well, Marcus Gafford off to boot it away for Washington and Lee. Back deep for Averett are both Jason Moran and Caden Jackson. Gafford, high kick, not very far, fielded at the 15 there by Moran. And he only makes it about 10 yards before he's brought down at the 25. So with 6:10 left here in the first quarter, Averett will get the ball for the first time today. And they will start at their own 25-yard line for the Cougars. Their offense getting led out by freshman quarterback number 10, Brock Hoffman. 6'1", 170 freshman from Chesapeake, Virginia. He's appeared in 2 games this season, making his first collegiate start. Ethan Ross, the starting quarterback for the Cougars, is not out there before the game, so Hoffman draws the start. He goes to Gabby Soto on first down, and Soto gets 6 yards.
And Soto's probably going to look to have a big game today. As you said, leading the ODAC currently in rushing yards. With that freshman quarterback, Hoffman, in the game, he's going to get a lot of carries today.
Brock Hoffman played a little bit against Ferrum down the stretch, went 3 for 5 with 23 yards through the air, but not a whole lot of action to his name thus far. Thrown into a bigger spot here today. Go back to Soto on 2nd and short, and Soto is met by Brennan Stout after 3 yards. So 3rd and about 2 here for Averett.
Averett's really going to look to get a lot from this run game, as I said earlier. And 3rd downs like this are going to be especially important, especially in this short distance.
Abby Soto has gotten his fair share of work. He not only led the conference in yards entering, they also led the conference in carries with 56 through 3 weeks. Here they turn to him again on 3rd down, and he's able to squeak through for 3 yards and enough to pick up a first down for the Cougars on this opening drive.
Yeah, very patient run there from Soto. Waited for his gap to open up and just slid right through. Evaded a couple Generals defenders there and picked up the first down.
So that allows Averett to make a couple of changes. They've got 4 wide here with the freshman Sean Leach to the right of quarterback Brock Hoffman. Robert Testerman, the lone receiver, to the near side. 1st and 10 from the 36. High snap brought down. Leach gets the carry, and he is gobbled up. Jersey Allentini, Brennan Stout, Will Knight, all there.
Yeah, great push up from that Generals line. Not fooled by the 4 wideouts, not thinking that they're going to throw there. They understood that it was going to be a run, and they were able to close the gaps up and hold them to only a gain of 1 on that play.
Trips formation to the right for the Cougars with the tight end in Jennings to the left. Leach still in next to Hoffman out of the shotgun. Oh, now switch to the right. 5 seconds left on the play clock here for the Cougars. Hoffman hands off to Leach, trying to get to the outside. He's able to get there, cut it upfield. He dives ahead. It looks like he perhaps stepped out a few yards short of the first down marker. We'll spot him at the 43-yard line. So another 3rd down looming here for this Cougars offense.
The play calls so far all been runs.
You have to think part of that also not only with the freshman quarterback, but for how much Washington Lee had the ball to start the game. You want to give your defense even a little bit of a break. We'll go back to Leach, and he will have enough for first down yardage as he gets right to midfield and keeps the chains moving here for Averett.
Yeah, very effective play calling so far for Averett. All these runs, able to find some gaps, find some seams, and so far, pretty positive play so far for the Cougars.
So Soto will come back in at running back for Averett. 1st and 10 at midfield for the Cougars, who have converted on each of their first 2 third downs thus far, among the best in the conference in third down conversion. Hoffman goes to the air, goes short for Testerman, and he'll get 5 yards before Alan Hagler brings him down.
Yeah, for your freshman quarterback, just a quick, easy turnaround route to the outside for 5 yards just to get him going, get him in the feel of throwing the ball and into the game is exactly what you want to do.
Testerman still the lone receiver to this side. 3 receivers bunched way to the boundary on the far side. Soto, the running back, next to Hoffman. Shotgun set, high snap. The give is to Soto. He'll get 2 yards as Jalen Todd and Alex Verney bring him down. So another third down here for the Cougars, 3rd and 3. They've kept him to 3rd and short. They've been able to capitalize thus far.
Similar formation to the last one, but
they're really trying to perhaps draw another defender out there to keep the box not as crowded. And Soto gets the carry. This time he is met right at the line. Will Mahmood, first through.
yeah, the Generals knew exactly what was happening there. Same formation as the play before, basically the same play call as the one before, but the Generals stacked the box, were ready for that one, and able to hold them to a 4th down try now.
Offense stays on the field here for Averett. 4th and 3 from the 43-yard line of Washington and Lee. Hoffman looking to pass. He'll go quick to Testerman. That's enough for the first down as Testerman is dragged out of bounds just shy of the 35.
Very similar play call to that first pass, and it's an easy pitch and catch for the quarterback there. Wide open receiver and able to pick up that first down.
Well, they'll actually mark him only at the 38. They'll say he stepped out a few yards back of where he was brought down. As you mentioned, a simple pitch and catch, and with how much leverage the DBs for Washington are given, they're giving you a good 5 yards off the line of scrimmage when you need just 4th and 3. A nice 5-yard curl is enough for Testerman to pick up the first down. The final few seconds ticking off the clock here in the first quarter. There'll be one last play. Gabby Soto on the carry and across to the 34-yard line. A little bit of pushing and shoving after the play, but a 7-0 score for Washington and Lee after the first 15 minutes. The Cougars in the midst of their opening drive, but after 15 minutes, it's Washington Lee ahead by a touchdown here in the ODAC opener on the Washington Lee Sports Network. Back here for the start of the second quarter at Wilson Field. Washington and Lee ahead 7-0 over Averett. Each team has had the football once, and the Cougars are still driving on their opening drive They've already gone 11 plays for 41 yards. They have 2nd and 6 from the W&L 34. This is Shaheem Watlington, and he is flattened by Jalen Todd.
Not really any room to run there. Jalen Todd getting out to the edge and just laying the boom on that hit.
That'll push actually a loss of 1 for Shaheem Watlington, so it'll bring up 3rd and 7 for the Cougars. This is their longest 3rd down they've had thus far, with freshman Brock Hoffman as the quarterback for the Cougars. We'll see what Averett is able to do. Have a couple of 3rd down conversions and a 4th down conversion on this opening drive. Hoffman back to pass, looking left and looking deep. O'Malley is there, but he can't hold on to it. He breaks up the chance intended for Sean Watlington. Connor O'Malley just inches away from another interception.
Yeah, the Cougar wide receiver there almost had to become a DB just to knock that one out of his hands. Kind of got his hand up in there and able to steal that. But a dangerous pass there from Hoffman.
So take another look here real quick. Going deep down the sideline, and O'Malley, the cornerback, was in much better position to even have a chance at that ball. But 4th and 7 here for Averett, and from the W&L 35. This is really the no man's land of it's too close to punt, but too long for a field goal. They'll go for it on 4th down. Hoffman pump fakes once, going down the sideline, looking for Testerman, but it's incomplete.
And that was a nice move there by Testerman to get open, but Hoffman just didn't see him quick enough. There were 3 DBs back there, but Testerman was open there for a moment, but just let him too far out of bounds there.
So Washington Lee takes over on downs. It'll be 1st and 10 from their own 35. The Generals on their only drive of the game, 14 plays, 71 yards, and it resulted in an Anthony Crawford 1-yard rushing touchdown. The Generals ran it 13 of the 14 plays on that first drive, effectively for 65 yards as well. So we'll see what they do here with their second possession. 14 minutes left here in the second quarter. The Generals up by 7-0. Ty Collins out of the shotgun. He'll run the option to the right. Collins with the late pitch for Romero. Romero's got some speed, and he's tripped up just after midfield as the Generals get it into Cougar territory.
And Collins is doing a great job right now of reading on those read option plays. He passed the line of scrimmage and got a little bit ahead, but he still knew that he had Romero to his right side and was able to pitch it out to him and pick up that first down.
So 49, that is a pickup of 16 for Jacob Romero. 1st and 10 from the Averett 49. And looking for some movement along the line, and flag will fly for a false start. Now the Generals will get backed up 5 yards.
The Cougars players, they're yelling that one out to the officials, and even the Averett coach over there getting a little bit fired up.
So that'll push the Generals back to 1st and 15. And they'll put it back on their own 46. Romero split to the right with Collins out of the shotgun. Andrew Bland, the lone receiver, to the top of your screen. And it seems like an issue with the play clock now. Asking for it to be perhaps reset to 25 instead of the 40. And there it is. So it's set to 25. And they're good to get back underway. Collins, handoff to Romero, and he's only able to get 2 yards. Bringing him down that time was Anthony Brunelli, among others. Seen the Generals only opt for 1 pass attempt thus far. Team that predominantly obviously rushes the ball with their triple option offense, but they go back to the air on 2nd and long. Andrew Bland gets through 1 tackle and then is knocked forward a couple extra yards at the end of that play as he grabs a little over 10 yards.
Nice job there from Bland, able to break the tackle. And as you said, only the second pass so far for the Generals. Both have been rather short, but picking up 10 yards, especially in a second and long situation, sets up a nice and way easier third down.
3rd and 2 here for Washington and Lee from the 41-yard line. Collins on the option, out to Payne. Marcus Payne makes one man miss and is brought down by Trey Maxwell just past the 20-yard line. A big play for the Generals, over 20 yards on that option to Marcus Payne, and Maxwell, the one that made the tackle, down just by the Generals sideline.
Yeah, the Cougars didn't really even know where that ball was going there. At first, it looked like Romero might get it up the middle, and then Collins had it out on the option, and then Payne was also out wide, and they were just not able to really find the ball and track it down and Payne able to pick up that big gain.
Now Marcus Payne able to get a big rush on 3rd and short as Trey Maxwell is being helped off by Averett medical staff. Maxwell, we mentioned it before, one of the top tacklers in the ODAC. He's already his hands on a couple of plays here defensively, and he's slow to make it to the far sideline. The Generals back in the red zone for the second time today. They'll have 1st and 10 from the Averett 17.
Yeah, losing Maxwell for the Cougars, as you said, could be a big loss. Have to look for somebody to fill up in his spot.
So the Generals break the huddle as Maxwell makes it to the far side for Averett. Washington and Lee capitalized on their only other chance in the red zone. Anthony Crawford, a 1-yard rushing score. That is the only score in this game, but the Generals are driving. Collins changing the call at the line. Collins, the pitch out to Romero. Gets past one guy, and he'll scamper out of bounds at the 10-yard line after a gain of 7.
The Cougars looked ready for that one. They had some good push up at the line, but Romero just able to make a couple guys miss, a couple guys falling down, and able to pick up a nice gain on 1st down.
It seems like they had the defensive ends, both Will Biddlecombe and Jarrell Williams, have really forced Collins to make that pitch, and although it wasn't the cleanest, Romero made that one-handed grab look rather simple.
Turned it into a nice gain.
2nd and 3 from the Averett 10. Now Romero right up the gut, and he's got 6 more yards. So 1st and goal here for the Generals, as Brunelli gets in on another stop. Another goal-to-goal situation for the Generals offense. 1st and goal from the 3. The handoff is to Aiden Boyd, and he is tripped up after a gain of 1.
Cougars so far at the goal line have done a good job of standing up and not letting anything come easy. Washington Lee did punch it in on that last drive, but the Cougars are not letting them have it easy.
Seth Harden there to help chop down Boyd after a pickup of 1. Anthony Crawford back in as the running back for the Generals. He's to the left of Collins out of the shotgun. It is to Crawford, and he's got his 2nd rushing touchdown of the day.
Yeah, once the Generals get the ball on that 1-yard line, I know the Cougars, like I said, have done a good job of standing them up, but it's so tough to stop this offense who are so prolific with the run game. And Crawford able, as you said, to punch it in for his 2nd of the game.
Now Anthony Crawford straight ahead this time from 2 yards out, and he's got both Washington and Lee scores as Michael Fernandez tries to make this a 14-0 lead for the Generals. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is straight on through. So Anthony Crawford gets his 2nd rushing touchdown of the day, this one from 2 yards out, and the Generals make it a 14-0 lead.
The Generals today really doing well maintaining the ball and having some good, decent, long, methodical drives. Averett not really giving up the big plays yet, but just unable to get a stop against these Generals so far.
Seven plays, 62 yards, closed off by Anthony Crawford's 2-yard rushing touchdown. And the Generals lead by 2 scores with less than 10 minutes left here before halftime. Marcus Gafford will be the one to kick it off for Washington and Lee. Gafford's first kickoff only made it to the 15, but was only returned for 10 yards as Jason Moran was met by the W&L return team.
And for the Cougars, a big special teams play would go a lot for bringing their morale up and getting them back in this game.
Moran had trouble with that one as he met it just at the 20, and again is only able to get out to the 25. That one had a little bit more hang time off the kickoff and not the cleanest catch. And once again, Averett will start at their own 25.
Yeah, you really want to take advantage of when the team gives you those short kickoffs, especially because it's way easier to get some good field position, but just unable to handle it there, and a couple of not great kickoff returns so far for the Cougars.
So Averett will take back the field for the second time today. Their first drive stalled out. It was a turnover on downs at the W&L 35-yard line. And marched down the field. They converted a couple of third downs and even a fourth down, but could not keep it alive to get points. The handoff comes to Gabby Soto, and he is just wrapped up. Brennan Stout, Will Mahmood, each there. So a gain of 1 for Soto on first down.
Yeah, Mahmood did a good job of getting in through the line there, and looks like the Generals are starting to figure out this Cougars defense a little bit here.
If you're Averett, if you feel like you still have to give Soto a decent amount of touches, yeah, you're down 14-0, but you need to. This is only your second time getting the ball. You move the ball effectively on that first drive. As a couple of tight ends come in motion to make the formation more unbalanced to the right. Soto again, and this time nowhere to go. Jack Johnson, Will Knight, and yet again Brennan Stout.
It looks like with Hoffman in, the Cougars are really opting to stay pretty conservative with their play calling. It's 3rd and long here now, though. You got to think they're going to try to go to the air with this one and try to pick up this first down, because the run game so far is getting stopped up at the line.
Hoffman is 2 for 4 for 10 yards. He's targeted Trevor Testerman 3 times. The only other time he looked in the eyes or looked in the direction of Sean Watlington, and it nearly got intercepted. But on 3rd and 8 from their own 27-yard line, he'll hit the quick screen pass here to Soto. He makes one man miss and a second, and it can only dive ahead for a gain of a couple. And the Averett punting unit will make its way out to the field on 4th and 6, deep in their own territory.
Yeah, there really wasn't anybody open downfield for Hoffman to hit, so he just hit this check down man, hoping that he can make a few guys miss, but the W&L defense able to swarm and not allow for that first down to be picked up.
Mikhail Yakovlev has been the punter and kicker this season. Averages over 38 yards a punt. Has a long of 54 this year, so make a few things happen. He gets this one away cleanly. Wilson Axley will feel it all the way at his own 21-yard line where he calls for the fair catch. He just had to keep backing up as that ball kept on carrying, and doing a good job to flip the field that time does Yakovlev, as Washington Lee will have it at their own 22.
Yeah, field position, especially for the Cougars now being down 14 points, will be very important to try to stop this Generals offense and get their offense in position to try to score on their next drive.
7:32 left here in the second quarter. Washington and Lee takes the field for the 3rd time offensively. They've scored on each of their first 2 drives. Of their 22 plays, 20 of them have been runs. They have 140 yards of offense, and Anthony Crawford has capped off both of them with rushing touchdowns from the 1-yard line and 2-yard line, respectively. Low snap. Collins has to just grab it on the turf. He'll eat it and keep it himself. He gets past the 30, and he's tripped up that time by Seth Harden. Enough yardage for the first down for Ty Collins.
Good job there from Collins. A couple of snaps that they not gone the way the Generals have hoped. A couple bobbled balls and that, but able to pick that one up and use his eyes to move the defender out of the way and just run up the field and pick up a first down.
12 yards on that first down carry for Collins. Romero, the leading rusher for the Generals today, 5 carries for 43 yards. He's behind Collins out of the shotgun. We'll go in motion to the right. Collins waiting for the hole to open. It never does. That's Terrell Williams as well as Tavion Coleman.
And Ivan Williams, too, for the Cougars defense, came around that backside and laid the first hit on Collins and brought him down to the ground.
Just a 2-yard gain. Brings up 2nd and 8 for the Generals. Ian Gallimore will rotate in at quarterback on this snap for Washington Lee. They'll hand off for Romero. And Romero's pulled ahead for 6 yards. And there's a flag after the play as Evan Novak ends up on his back. And Ivan Williams is the one walking away from that.
Yeah, little extracurriculars there. Looks like he just pushed him down to the ground and right in front of the officials. They're going to see that all day.
So after the end of the run, they'll tack on 15 more for a personal foul against Averett. So they'll bring it all the way across midfield. 1st and 10 now at the Averett 49.
And already being down 14 points and struggling to stop the Generals' offense, those kind of penalties are ones you just cannot afford to have.
So Garcia going a little bit of motion. The Generals will check the call here. Another handoff for Romero. Getting to the outside, Jacob Romero. Tossed down at the 32-yard line. There's a flag down just around the 40 on the outside. And we'll see if this one might be coming back because of a hold.
Yeah, it looks like that might be what referees are indicating. A good run there by Romero, though, but unfortunately it'll be coming back for the Generals.
A holding call against the Generals will back them up 10 more yards. So that nice run by Romero negated by the penalty.
So far today, relatively clean game, though. The Stripes had a couple of penalties, but not too many flags thrown so far by these officials.
Washington and Lee will be now on their side of midfield and waiting for the play clock to reset again.
Just 2 flags for each side in this one so far.
Well, the umpire and the referee trying to talk to the W&L sideline, and there seems to be at least stopping this game for the time being. So they got the play clock reset on one side, not the other. But anyways, the ref will just wave it on in. Collins rolling out to his left. He's looking to pass. And Ian Evans able to haul it in.
Yeah, good job there of keeping his feet in bounds, and the throw didn't carry him too far out of play. A perfectly thrown ball there from Collins and a nice gain.
So that gets some of the yardage back on that penalty. So it'll be 3rd down from the 41-yard line. 3rd and about 7 here for Washington and Lee. Collins, 3-step drop, flushed her out of the pocket, and he will be sacked. Forced to step up, Marte Simmons helps to bring him down. Rayshawn Robinson causing some of the pressure as well.
Yeah, nobody again really open downfield for Collins there, and he was just unable to find a lane to bust out and try to pick up that first down with his legs. And Simmons did a good job of coming up and taking him down.
So with 4th down here for the Generals, their offense staying on the field for now, but perhaps waiting to let this get backed up another 5 yards to give a little bit more room for Marcus Gafford to punt. It is 4th and 12, but it is on the plus side of midfield, and so the Generals will actually elect to use a timeout instead with 4:05 left here in the second quarter.
Yeah, 4th and 12 is a little bit too far, I think, for this offense to go, or especially being up 14. Should be a good chance to pin the Cougars back deep, though, given the field position.
Marcus Gafford this season punting for Washington and Lee. 7 punts, about 43 yards per punt. And has 2 inside the 20 this year of his 7 punts. So punting from the 46-yard line, you have a little bit of room to work with, but perhaps going to have to take this a little bit lighter than what his season average is to get this within the final in the 10 within the 10 in the goal line.
Yeah, and if they're able to do that, it'll be very difficult, especially how the Cougars offense has been running so far, mostly runs. It's going to be hard to drive down the field with only 4 minutes to go in this half, so this punt, very important for the Generals and for their defense.
So the punting unit will come out for Washington and Lee, and Averett will make the corresponding change. They left the defense out first just in case. And so now Jason Moran will head back. His heels on the 10-yard line. So the punting unit and Marcus Gafford out for the first time today for W&L. Trying to pin the Cougars back deep. Gafford able to get it and boot it away. It's a tumbling kick, but Moran steps up to meet it and call for the fair catch at the 14-yard line. So Averett will take over 1st and 10 at their own 14 with 3 minutes and 58 seconds left before halftime.